There's a thought that most of us have, but very few of us say out loud. I thought I'd be further along, not necessarily richer, not necessarily famous, not even more successful by the world's standards, just more settled. I thought I'd have fewer unanswered questions, fewer loose ends. I thought I'd feel more finished. And if I'm being honest, there have been moments where that thought really felt heavy, like a quiet accusation, and as if like it were tapping me on the shoulder saying you should be somewhere else by now. But for a long time I interpreted that feeling as failure. If I wasn't where I thought I should be, then something must have gone wrong, some wrong turn, some missed opportunity, or some version of my life that I didn't live well enough. But lately I've been looking at it differently. And what I'm starting to realize is this: that feeling doesn't always mean I'm behind. Sometimes it means you're awake. Most of my life was spent chasing the idea of arrival, the belief that one day I'd get there, wherever there was, and I'd finally feel okay, where things would slow down, where I'd feel secure, where I could finally rest. I could just take a break. And for years, I structured my life around that idea. If I just work harder now so you can relax later, if I endure this season so the next one's going to be easier, push through discomfort because someday I'm going to arrive. But here's the truth: no one really talks about arrival. It's not real, it's an illusion. There is no permanent state where life stops asking things of you. There is no finish line where growth is no longer required. There's no version of adulthood where responsibility disappears. But what does happen is that some people stop growing and they call it stability. They stop asking the questions, the hard questions. They stop examining their motives. They stop being honest with themselves. And from the outside, that can look like success, but you'd say, good job, predictable outcome, right? Well managed image. But inside, something quietly goes numb. I don't want that. I don't want to look finished if it means I'm stopping becoming. Because the truth is, I'm still building, I'm still learning, I'm still undoing patterns that I had thought I'd already dealt with. And for the first time in my life, I don't see that as weakness. I see it as maturity. There are people who stopped growing at 30 and really they just got better at hiding it. They've learned how to perform adulthood without actually engaging in it. They've learned what to say, how to appear put together, how to avoid anything that might disrupt the story they're telling, their perfect little life, but underneath they're frozen. Not because life defeated them, but because growth requires honesty, and honesty is uncomfortable. And what I'm learning, especially in this season, is that honesty is expensive, but I know avoidance costs way more. So being honest about where you are means letting go of where you thought you'd be, and that's not easy. There's a lot of grief in that. There's humility in that, which is really a blessing, and there's a quiet surrender that has to happen. You have to release the version of yourself that you imagined you'd be at this age. The life you thought you'd have, the clarity you assumed would come automatically, the certainty you believed was guaranteed with time. But here's what's replacing it. If you're willing to let it go, you can have peace. Not the kind that comes from everything being perfect, but the kind that comes from telling the truth. The peace of no longer pretending to be something you're not, the peace of no longer rushing, the peace of no longer measuring your life against someone else's timeline. And this series, Day to 60, it was never about counting down to the end. It's about paying attention. It's about refusing to sleepwalk through the years I have left. It's about choosing awareness over autopilot, responsibility over excuses, and presence over distraction. And I don't want to wake up at 60 and realize I spent my late 50s trying to look like I had it all together. I'd rather arrive at 60 still curious, still learning, and still becoming. Because here's the thing: if you can still reflect, still adjust, still take responsibility for today, you're not behind. You're engaged. And what matters more than anything that most people realize is if you're watching this and the thought has been sitting in the back of your mind that I thought I'd be further along by now, just let me say this clearly. You're not alone and you're not done. You're still here, which means there's still work worth doing. There's still growth available, still honesty possible. And today, that's enough. That's enough for me. And I hope it's enough for you. One step, one decision, one honest look at your life, and one honest look at my life, one day better. Thanks for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.